Cyprus football, the passion, the thrill. The passion, the thrill. The stadiums roar, you can feel the chill. You can feel the chill. The teams are ready, the battles will start. The battles will start with dreams of glory, they'll play with heart.
Kalimera, Kalispera, whatever time you're watching. This is Mappa. Stelz here. Unfortunately, Thasso is occupied with family business, but you're stuck with me. I'm sorry, boys and girls. But on the flip side, on the positive side, this might be a shorter show because Thasso ain't going to be here to moan about Apoel, even though they won at the weekend. But he's got a couple of things to moan about. I guess I'll do the complaining for him. Whatever. Anyway, boys and girls, for those of you watching live right now, I don't know why you're watching live, to be honest. It's like 10 past midnight in Cyprus, but we might be watching. There might be people watching from outside of Cyprus. Don't forget to give us a follow on Instagram and X at This Is Mappa. So yeah, let's get cracking. And tonight we had the Champions League encounter between Juventus and Buffalo. They finished Juventus 2, Buffalo 0. And as the title of this show is, what could have been? Buffalo had two big opportunities. One early on from Anderson, whose back heel went just wide. Then Dragomir had a volley, which was saved by the goalkeeper. And Anderson hit the post. And Buffalo go in 0-0 at half-time. And here's me thinking, boys and girls, here's me thinking they might get a result. And I don't mean, what's going on here? And I don't mean a win. You know, let's get it right. Buffalo, the underdogs. They're not meant to be beating the great Juventus. They're not meant to be keeping clean sheets against the great Juventus. But anyway, second half kicks off and Juventus step up a gear, passing the ball quicker, moving the ball quicker, and they take the lead. And listen, it was coming. Let's get it right. You're talking about a team that was knocking on the door. To be fair, Mikhail didn't really have much to do in the first half. He had to save from Yildiz, and Jonathan David missed from 5 yards out. But Juventus stepped up a gear second half. And the first goal that they scored, Conceição comes in from the right-hand side. And Bruno Felipe. Bruno Felipe, a player who I've been saying for quite a while now, even when he was at Omonia, he's not that good. But hey, listen, he's done well at Buffalo, right wing back, even though he's not a wing back. He's done well. But the way that Conceição just moved past him, brushed him out of the way like he didn't exist, says it all really. Plays a ball in to McKinney, smashes in, top corner. Can't do anything about it. 1-0. And Buffalo needs to get an equaliser. They chase and they chase and they chase. They commit men forward, get hit on the counter-attack. It's 2-0 and it's game done. Now, I'll be honest with you. As a neutral, but as a fan of Cyprus football, I was a little bit disappointed with them coming away with a defeat. I'm not going to lie. Because given that first half performance, I thought they could have nicked the point. And it goes to show how far Buffalo have come. Going to Juventus, team with so much history, well known around the world. And to come away with a 2-0 defeat and thinking, could have got something out of that. Could have got something out of that. And once again, it just makes you think, what could have been? Again, just like the title of this show. What could have been if Buffalo had brought in an upgrade on Bruno? What could have happened if they brought in an upgrade on Bruno? What could have happened if they'd replaced Jairo? Jairo got, what, 16 goals last season, 16 the year before. Buffalo legend as a striker. But if they brought in a quality striker, and no disrespect to Baswamina and the other guy who they got, Di Matta, they're not Jairo. They're not Anderson. If they'd have brought in a quality striker and an upgrade on Bruno, and even a goalkeeper, because Mikhail has been good, but listen, there have been occasions this season where David Luiz has given him a look. I'm just saying. I know Gorta's been injured. But I just think, oh my goodness, we've got another bot. So let's just ban this bot. Let's get rid of him. It's a bit weird, bit weird. Rockax, hey, still enjoy the podcast. We'll see it tomorrow in Turin at the moment. Hope you get back safely, bro. And I hope you enjoyed the game of the atmosphere. Obviously, a 2-0 defeat isn't great, but it's Juventus, man. Come on. No one expects Buffer to get anything out of it. But yeah, as I said, if they brought in an upgrade on Bruno and an upgrade on Anderson, I'm just saying Buffer probably would have got a couple more points in Europe this season. But hey, it is what it is. Listen, they've got 2 more games. They've got Chelsea in January and then Slavia Prague. Anything can happen right now. There's still a chance that they can get through. They can still qualify. So let's see. Let's wait and see, shall we? Now, let's move on to the Brathlima, the games from the weekend, and we shall begin at Paralimni. Oh, fuck's sake. Let me just take that back. Let me take it back. Right. Start Paralimni, where Krasava won by a 0-0. Goal scorer was Kumuri. Krasava then conceded a penalty, but it was saved. Zadro with a fantastic save, and Krasava held on for a 1-0 victory. A game which they deserve to win. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I watched most of it, and yes, Paralimni gave it their all. But you're talking about a team that hasn't won a game all season. They're on 1 point, rock bottom, and what they call a relegation 6-pointer. You expected more. Yes, they'll be disappointed they didn't come away with a point at least, especially with that penalty being saved. But Krasava deserved the win. They deserved it. And let's see what happens with them, because there's quite a few things going on at the club. So let me just break it down for you. Let's start with Paralimni, actually, because got a bit of Paralimni news. And we're going to start with Jimmy Kazan, the Lebanese winger. Now, from what we've heard, he's linked with a move to a Super League team in Greece. Now, a few weeks ago, we were told that there was an agreement or some sort of gentleman's agreement with Paralimni that you're talking about €1 million fee to sell the kid. Now, I don't know how true that is, but if that's the asking price that we were told, that's all I'm saying. But as far as I'm aware, a team in Greece are looking at the youngster, and there's a possibility that he could make a move as early as January. Now, let's go over to Krasava, boys and girls, because Christoforos Michaloudi, the press officer, announced on Sport FM that an agreement with Freedom 24 expires in May, and Yevgeny Savin has been talking to new sponsors. So does this mean that the new sponsor will take half of the name of the club? Because right now they're called Freedom 24, Krasava, Dingenis, Ipsona, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure I've missed out another name. So let's say, for example, they get Alpha Mega. Does that mean they're going to be Alpha Mega Krasava? What about Zorba Krasava? Petrolina Krasava? I don't know. What do you guys think? Are they going to have a new name? I don't know. You never know. You never know with this club. This comment from Andrew. Granted, this isn't Juve at their best, but Buffalo were every bit as likely to score as Juve, if not more. As you say, Juve did find another gear. Well, of course they did, man. They're at home. There's a lot of pressure on them. I know they've had a few injuries. But look, it's a demanding fan base, and you can understand why. So to be going in 0-0 at halftime against a team like Buffalo, I don't know, team like Buffalo, the Farmers. Yeah, apparently Buffalo were going to get smashed, Andrew, in this tournament. It's only Bayern Munich that took them apart. Ask Villarreal. Ask Monaco. You never know. Anyway, let's stay on the subject of Krasava. And apparently, their search for a new head coach is almost at the end, because according to the X account We Are Krasava, a new front runner has emerged for the head coach position. Javi Rozada, the Spanish coach, boasts Liga 2 experience from his summer at Real Oviedo and recently guided Real Avilés to promotion into Spain's third tier. Now, I don't know too much about this guy. He's follically challenged, like yours truly. A strange shaped head, to be honest. I'm not going to make fun. He might have had an accident. I don't know. So yeah, another Spanish coach potentially joining the Braslima. David Badia was linked with the club. He said, "Nunca más, no more. No, thank you. No, gracias. Or no, por favor." I don't want anything to do with this club. I don't know. But yeah, so this fella looks like he's going to be the next guy as the Krasava job. Krasava head coach. Anyway, let's move on to more footage.
Reparten sanciones sin pudor, corrupción en la sombra, rumores que van, pero el alma del hincha no se puede comprar. Esto es mala pasión sin parar, drama eterno que no va a terminar, entre risas, escándalos y verdad brutal. El fútbol de Chipre es un carnaval.
Right, so that was the Hugo Martins derby. Yeah, Omone Aradipur 1, IL 3. Hugo Martins going back to one of his former clubs to win 3-1. Luther Singh with a brace. Bondigoz pulled one back before Glavcic made it 3-1. Good win for IL. And they are improving game by game. We had a feeling that Hugo Martins would do a good job at the club. Even Pedro said at the beginning of the season that IL have got a pretty decent squad, that they just need that right coach. And at this moment, Hugo Martins is getting a tune out of these players. We're seeing players like Keller play very well. Davor, our mate Davor, always reliable. Zoke is doing well. And Luther Singh, listen, he's always had ability. But recently, he's been on fire. He's been on flames. And do not be surprised if IL are going to be knocking on that top 6 door in the next couple of weeks. In fact, they're doing it now, really. They're breathing down Abollon's neck. So it's looking all right for him. Now, I know Nicola Levendi, the press officer, went on Sport FM the other day to basically calm down the James Rodriguez rumors and said, listen, January is a difficult month to sign players, blah, blah, blah. The same rhetoric we hear from press officers. We'll let you know when we make an announcement, that kind of stuff. But he hasn't denied it. So up until the end of January, there's still going to be a chance that James Rodriguez is coming to Cyprus. You never know. You never know. Anyway, I don't think there's any news relating to IL and Omone Aradipur. This is pretty much it. So let's just move on to the next game, shall we, boys and girls? So, here we go. Next game, Abollon 0, Anorthosi 0. Anorthosi could have taken the lead through Vukic, and they almost did. First, he missed a chance in the first half, but he then had a goal in the second half disallowed for offside. Abollon had half a chance from Castel, and near the end, 15 minutes ago, Kiko had a shot saved by Kun. It ended 1 apiece. That's it, really? 0-0. Sorry, what am I talking about? 1 apiece. For fuck's sake. This is why I need Tasso here. Tasso, where are you? So it ended 0-0. Nothing much to talk about in this game. No controversy. Both teams knocking on the door. Nothing really else to discuss. Honestly, it wasn't an eventful game. Those clips I just showed you, that was it. Both teams resorted to shooting from range. Neither goalkeeper really had too much to do apart from that Kun save at the end. And that's pretty much it. 0-0. A point doesn't do either team any good, to be honest, because I know Anorthosi are slowly moving clear of the relegation zone. But really and truly, they still need the points. They still need the points. Abollon, as I mentioned earlier, I've got IL breathing down their neck. Not sure if Sofronia Avulsti will be happy with that result. But fact remains, they're still in the top 6. So that's it. They move. What I found interesting beforehand was how both coaches would react to each other. Because those of you who don't know, Sofronia Avulsti, the Apollon head coach and Timur Ketspaya, the Anorthosis coach, had a bit of a war of words back in the last season because Ketspaya lost his job as a Cyprus national team head coach. Sofroni then replaced him and then walked to go to Apollon. And Ketspaya gave an interview with a journalist. I can't remember which outlet it was. Apologies. And he had a little dig at Sofroni, talking about, Cypriot football fans want Cypriot head coaches, but the last guy that you had walked out on the national team and blah, blah. And Sofroni then clapped back at the weekend. I think it was after the Upper game, actually. And he says something along the lines of, I'm not going to listen to what he says. He should focus more on himself. And I'm not the one that goes to casinos. He could have said other stuff, to be fair. From what we've heard, Ketspaya likes to dabble in a few other things, allegedly. But hey, Sofroni kept it PG. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's move on. Because there is a bit of news with Anorthosis. And they have been linked, well, according to 24 Sports, they've set their sights on goalkeeper Luka Gugeshashvili. He's a Georgian goalkeeper that's currently contracted to BAOK in Greece. He's 26 years old, Georgian international. He joined BAOK last summer from Pantheraios in a €1 million move. And he previously played for Dinamo Tbilisi, Jagiellonia, FC Dila, Karabag, and Granada. Staying with Anorthosis. And today, they release an announcement. They've hit 35% of their €1.9 million Please Keep the Lights On fundraiser. Now, for anyone who's not great at maths, like me, that works out to €668,000. So, yeah, fair play to them. I mean, most clubs raise money with sponsors or player sales. Anorthosis have gone for the good old-fashioned church raffle approach. There you go. Happy days. For them, anyway. Well, slowly moving to happy days. Gulli. Yo, where's Thaso? Thraso. He's not here. But Gulli, just to let you know, and I know that you only watch this podcast for one particular thing. Shikis started and Vrikis came on against Anorthosis. So on the pitch, we had Vrikis and Shikis. So this is just for you.
Ο Βρίκης και ο Σίκης είναι που θα περάσουν.
Περίμενε, Βρίκης.
Ο Βρίκης και ο Σίκης είναι που θα εισελθούν.
Ναι.
Yes! Βρίκη, Σίκη, όλο μπαίνουν, Βρίκη, Σίκη, δεν μας φτάνουν, δεν μας μπαίνουν, Βρίκη, Σίκη, χορεύει η κερκίδα με το ρυθμό, Βρίκη, Σίκη, γκολ και χαμός, Απόλλων Θεός.
There you go, Gullimu. I do know you. Now you can go to bed. There you go. It's fucking midnight, my friend. Galinichta. You can stay if you want and keep commenting, keep me company. It's fine. It's all good. By the way, we've got 113 people watching at the moment, and that's including X. So if anyone's watching on X or Twitter, leave a comment, say something. I'll bring it up. Do what you want. It's fine. Anyway, Prohorume. Let's go to the next game. So, come on. AEK beats Ethniko by 2-1. Miramon with a strike from close range, but he absolutely rifled it in. Then Breno equalized for Ethniko. He's linked with a move to Isle, by the way. But with less than 10 minutes to go, Angielski made it 2-1. AEK warm up for their Conference League game tomorrow with a victory. Now, hard-fought victory, and it always seems to be a difficult one for AEK against Ethniko. I remember, was it last season? Or was it the year before? That it ended 5-5. Mental. So, yeah, no sign of Ethniko sacking their head coach. Although, from what I've been told, they're already taking profiles. So, I think it's only a matter of time before we have managerial casualty number 8 or 9. I think it might be 9. Not sure. I'm losing count. Doesn't matter. That's it. That is it when it comes to those teams. So, let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. Next game is Apoel beating Ari by 2-0. Gutsago opening the scoring with a wonderful header, great cross there from Stafilidi. And right near the end, with less than 10 minutes to go, Drazic chased the ball down. Connor Goldson made the dogs dinner of it, and Drazic sealed the victory for Apoel. Big win for the Left Garcia side. And Ari, what can I say about Ari? Listen, they had their opportunities, and Belic was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Belic back into the team after a few weeks out, and he made some very crucial saves to keep a clean sheet. Obviously, Ari will be disappointed that they lost the game. Abu will be ecstatic because let's get it right. If you don't take your chances, you don't deserve to win. That's the way that I see it anyway. But yeah, Abu were ruthless. Gutsago is on fire at the moment. And Drazic, a player that, you know, in the summer, we were talking about him leaving the club. In fact, a few weeks ago, we thought that he was out the door, possibly going to IL, possibly going back to Serbia. I don't know. But, you know, this is a player who is very underrated, I believe, anyway. And squad player, he's doing his job, getting on with it. Can't complain. Not if you're an Abu fan, anyway. 8 or 9, slow year, yeah. Yeah, well, we had 18 last season, Andrew. So you never know. We might reach that. We're almost at the halfway stage. So anyway, let's see. Now, let's stay with the Abuelistas because, boys and girls, would you, Adam and Eve, they've announced the release of Romario Balde. Now, the full statement reads, Abuel FC, Public Limited, announces the conclusion of its cooperation with the footballer Romario Balde. Even though Romario did not make an official appearance for Apoel, we part ways with the best impressions, both for his professionalism and the respect he showed towards our club, as well as his positive attitude, which allowed us to reach an agreement quickly. Positive attitude, you've been sat on the bench, like collecting splinters, like and maybe getting paid for it. We say farewell to Romario and sincerely wish him all the best in both his professional career and his personal life. His career and his personal life. His personal life. So what's Romario going to do now? He's not with a club. He's going to be a social media influencer. He's going to be a gamer. He's going to start playing Fortnite with us. Me and Bedra haven't played Fortnite in a while, actually. We need to play Fortnite. But yeah, no appearances. Makes you wonder who's been in charge of Abuel's transfer activity in the past few months. Because, no disrespect, Romario Balde doesn't seem like a signing that F8 would want to bring in. Is there someone called Alessandro da Silva involved? Just saying. That motherfucker was there collecting dust. Collecting dust, yeah. Collecting dust. I don't think he was doing that. But hey, it's all right. He can move on to pastures new. Now, here's an interesting one for those who care. Mr. Gutsago, the guy that scored the opening goal at the weekend against Ari, a little birdie told us that Granada have joined Nuremberg in the race to sign him. Now, our post on X must have got the attention of Gostesera Sport because they wrote today regarding the case of Nicola Gutsago. The latest information suggests there is strong interest from foreign clubs in the 22-year-old forward, and it is very possible that official offers will arrive in the immediate future. Gutsago is under contract with Apoel until the summer of 2027 and not in 2026. Therefore, any club wishing to sign the Cypriot striker will have to meet the financial demands of the blue and yellow. The 22-year-old is considered one of the club's most important assets, in inverted commas, and Apoel's management will not agree to his transfer unless they are fully satisfied financially. Right. Speaking of being satisfied financially, boys and girls, you're going to love this one. It didn't take long for our Pizzagate whisper to wobble its way up the food chain and land on FIFA's desk. And surprise, surprise, Apoel have earned themselves yet another spot on the embargo list. Yep, that's right. 3 wasn't enough, so now they've collected 4, like Pokemon, but financial penalties. Now, as it stands, Abuel must somehow juggle 4 separate transfer embargoes if they want to sign anyone in January. 4. Desera. At this point, it's, I'd say, less a transfer strategy and more, I don't know, an elaborate escape room. So, yeah, 4, which is 3 transfer windows as well, which makes it even more sticky. Let's have a look. Pedro, maybe now they save some money to pay for the vitamins and creams instead of asking for, oh my God. Pedro, you look, you can't be putting up these comments and not expecting me to elaborate. But on this occasion, I'll give you a blah, I'll let you off. But hey, let's have a look. How is this guy happy? He gets paid minimum wage in Cyprus. Kutsago, do we know that he's happy, Yanni? I mean, he scored 2 in 2 games, right? Came off the bench against Anorthos. He scored at the weekend against Ari. 2 big goals. If there are clubs sniffing around that are interested in signing him, especially with Abuel's financial situation, who can strong arm who right now? Who? Because let's get it right. If he's one of those players that allegedly isn't being paid on time, I'm just saying, nothing will stop him from getting his contract cancelled. So, yeah. Still, there will be another one for your information. There you go. There's another one. And now we have the bots. I'm not going to bring that up. So I'm going to ban that user and delete their comments. There you go. It's a bit weird. I've set it to subscribers only. So these bots are subscribing and then commenting. It's weird. Anyway. So that's it. So yeah, interesting times ahead for Abuel. Again, I'm not going to elaborate on their issues. It's got nothing to do with me. Don't care. Really don't care. And I'm saving myself being trolled and being clipped and put all over social media by these weird Abuelistas that have their own fan accounts and love to watch this just to clip our stuff. But anyway, it is what it is. Now, let's move on to Ari. Because Ari have got problems of their own. Big problems. Because 4 of their players have been called up to their national teams for AFCON, which starts on the 18th of December. Yassine Borhan is with Comoros, Steve Yago, Burkina Faso, Alex Musunda, Gabon, and Gedeon Kalulu, Congo, will be unavailable until the 31st of December at the earliest, meaning they'll be unavailable for the games against Apollon and Omonia Aradipu. Now, remember at the top of the show when I was talking about Buffon, what if they signed this player? What if they signed that player? I mean this with the greatest of respect, but Adi's transfer activity in the summer has been above average. They signed Humbo and Gagulli, 2 fantastic players. They brought in Leon Balogun, sensational defender. Other than that, who have they brought in to make you think, are they going to be a problem this season? And again, no disrespect to them, because I've got a good relationship with the club, some of the players as well. Been to a couple of games last few weeks. But they've struggled and they've dropped needless points. Needless points this season. There have been games where they should have been putting their chances away. There have been games where they've been giving away cheap goals. The situation with Vanna Alves still confuses me. With the greatest respect to Wes Foderingham, Vanna Alves should be in goal. I'm just saying. And now you've got 4 players going on international duty. Well, who's going to play right back? Sané? Okay. What happens if he gets injured? Who fills in at right back? Do they switch their system to 3 at the back? Yago's not going to be there. And what about in the middle of the park? Burhan is a decent midfielder, but that's it. Musunda, okay, in and out of the team, making a few sub-appearances, coming off the bench, playing centre-back or centre-mid. But he effectively replaces Burhan. they're going to have problems. But the good thing for Adi, the good thing is that these players will be gone until the 31st, was it 31st of December at the earliest, right? For all we know, Burkina Faso might not qualify. Comoros, maybe these guys will come home early. Don't know. But yes, Apollon, that'll be a tricky game. And you expect them to beat Omonia out of the pool, right? You expect them to beat them, even with those four players out. So it might not necessarily be a bad thing for them. But at the same time, again, 4 players playing 3 more games, the traveling, the extra training, it adds up, doesn't it? Anyway, let's move on. Move on to the next game. And Omonia battered Olympiacos by 3-0. A brace for Willy Semedo and Arakovic. Comfortable win for Omonia. Pedro did his review on No Choftes, but I'll do it in English this time round. In all fairness, boys and girls, it was a little bit closer than the scoreline suggests. Because Olympiacos had a couple of chances first half. At 0-0, they hit the post. But being 100% honest, and again, as an Omonia fan, obviously people are going to think I'm being biased. But really and truly, if Omonia put their chances, it would have been 6 or 7. It's a fundamental difference. And I wouldn't say Omonia were wasteful in front of goal. Because that means they'd have been a little bit negligent and they'd have been a bit sloppy. I don't think it was sloppiness. I just think it was a case of either bad luck or just not having their shooting boots on. But it's a good win for Omonia. Remain in second place for the time being. And look, if you asked me at the beginning of the season that come the 10th of December, Omonia will be second place, a couple of points behind Buffalo at the top of the table, I'd have taken your hand off. Henningberg's done very, very well to rotate players. The system is working very well. There isn't any drama at the club. It's almost as if it's a well-oiled machine. That's what Olympiacos. Well, look, they play a 3-4-2-1 system. And they get caught out in wide areas time after time, and it happens all season. And the issue with Olympiacos, when they play 3 at the back, they play with a sweeper. And that sweeper does not know the offside rule. That sweeper likes to move forward with the ball. Even without the ball, he tracks the number 10 and gets taken out of position, and they're left with 2 at the back. So Gostin needs to sort it out, because if he doesn't fix the defensive issue, they're going to go down. It's that simple. They're conceding way too many goals. Way too many goals. I can't remember the last time they kept a clean sheet. Was it against Omonia Aladipo when they beat them 1-0 and the goalkeeper saved a penalty at the last minute? Was that the last time they kept a clean sheet? They conceded against Agrita, conceded against Apoel, Omonia, Ari, Ael. You know? I don't know. It's AFCON, right? African Cup of Nations. How long does it last? It ends middle of January, I think. I think 18th of January, if I'm not mistaken. Without being biased, which 2 teams are going to reach the cup final this year? That's a difficult one, man. I need to look at the draw again, Yannimo, to be honest. I know Omonia got AEK. Let's have a look. Cyprus Cup draw. I forget who the teams are, man. Buffalo against Agrida. Buffalo going to go through. Ethnigo Paralimni. I'm putting my money on Ethnigo. Apoel Abea. Come on. Olympia go against Omonia Aradipo. That's a difficult one to call. Not sure. Apollon and Orthosis, same. And Omonia AEK. I'm not going to call it. I'm not going to do it. But look, one of Omonia and AEK are going to go out. AEK are the holders. I don't know, man. Again, it just depends on the draw as well. I mean, if Apoel beat Abea and Buffalo beat Agrida, which is looking likely, they might face each other in the next round. So I can't call it. I can't call it. Did you see the Gastano rumor about Buffalo? I did indeed. But I also heard that another Cypriot team is interested in him. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to give it away. But you can guess who it is. You can guess. If Buffalo want them, then there's another team that is likely to want them. Just an educated guess. Fucking hell. Do you know what? I'm going to make it interesting. Eonio. Derby. Final. Abuo Monia. That's what I'm going to say. Abuo Monia. Cyprus Cup final. I'm calling it. There you go. An educated guess, Yanni. I'm not educated. Anyway, let's go to the final game of the review. And it is at the Bafiago, the Stelios Kyriakidis Stadium, where Buffalo annihilated Agreda by 4-0. Pedro is rolling his eyes right now. Correa gave Buffalo the lead. Bruno then made it 2. Anderson grabbed the third second half. And an Andonil own goal, wrapping it up for Buffalo with a lovely bow on top. Pedro, once again, is rolling his eyes. I know what he's thinking. Buffalo beating Agreda? No, you don't say. Yes, we do say, Pedro. We do say. What can I tell you about this game? One-way traffic. Buffalo needed to do a job. They did a job. They pammed them. That's it. That is it. But what I will tell you is, contrary to what the result and the performance shows you guys, I think Agreda have got a good head coach in Mario Nicolau. And look, I don't think he's expecting to get anything from the derby games, or should I say the against the bigger clubs like your Monia, your Buffalo, etc. But the teams in the bottom 8, I think he fancies his chances against them. And if they strengthen in January, bring in a couple more players that can make a difference, who knows? I mean, that bottom 3 at the moment, which I'm going to go to in just a second, that bottom 3, you know, looks like Paralimni are dead. Aradipu struggling. In fact, let me bring up the league table anyway. Let's do this. Have I got it? I do indeed. So we have Buffalo at the top on 31 points. Omonia second on 29. AEK third on 27, 2 points behind Omonia, and they face each other on Monday. Ari down to fourth on 26. Upwell 25 points. Apollon 21. Isle in 7th on 20. 1 point between them and Apollon, top 6. Olympiago 8th on 14. Then you have Ethnigo on 14. Agreda 13. Anorthosis 13. Krasava 10. Omonia 10. And bottom of the table, Paralimni 1 point. So, what do you guys think about the bottom 3? Because I think now look, stranger things have happened, but I don't think Paralimni are going to stay up. I know it's 9 points, and even 9 points at this stage isn't a lot. But when you look at Paralimni and the lack of goals, the way that they're conceding goals, they still don't have a head coach. No one wants the job. It's mad. So I think they're done. Then you got to look at Aradipu and Krasava, with Krasava potentially bringing a new head coach. If it's the guy that we mentioned earlier, unproven in Cyprus, is that a gamble? Aradipu with Sacha, we know he can get them out of the mire, and it's only 3 points between them and Anorthosis and Agreda. Will Agreda get sucked in? I don't know. I don't think Anorthosis will go down. Can't see that happening. Olympiago, as I mentioned earlier, if they don't learn to keep clean sheets, then they'll be in trouble. And then there's Achna, Ethnigo Achna. Do they have enough to stay up? If Breno leaves in January, it's looking likely, then what? And Anderegen, what's going to happen with him? Is he going to go in January? So really and truly, anyone from 8th to 13th can go down. And that just shows how, I'd say, how entertaining our league has become. Forget the title race for the moment. We've had 5 different champions in the last 5 years. And at the beginning of the season, would anyone have thought that Krasov would be down there? I didn't think Krasov would be in the bottom 3. I thought with their budget, with the type of players they brought in, with experience in the Bratslima, I thought they'd be mid-table right now. No. I thought Olympiago would struggle. Well, they are struggling, but they're 8th. With Hugo Martins at Ethnigo, I had the feeling they do something. I was a challenge for top 6, but at least have a respectable position, but they're teetering. So, if we say that Paralimni are down, which is likely, who goes down? Tell me. Those of you watching, who would you put your money on to go down? Anyway, while you guys have a think, I need to bring up a couple of things very, very quickly. Omonia announced the contract extension of Evandro Costa. He's going to be at the club till at least 2028. Now, Evandro came with a bit of a strange CV, in my opinion. I think he had 13 clubs before joining Omonia. And I was very, very skeptical of him. And last season, he did all right. But this season, he's been fantastic. Fantastic as a 10, fantastic as an 8. When Karol Eiting picked up his injury, he slotted in at centre mid and held his own. And he's deserved this contract extension. All right, maybe not until 2028. I don't know. But possibly Omonia thinking they can sell him if he continues playing well. So, yeah. On the whole, good decision. I think, anyway. I will disagree that it's entertaining. Look at those points and tell me it would not be better championship with 12 teams or even 10. Look, I don't think anyone thought that Paralimni would be bottom of the table with 1 point and no wins at this stage of the season, Pedro. I'm not going to lie. Did you think that Aradipu would be down at the bottom with Sacha as head coach? Did you think Krasava would be in the bottom 3? As I mentioned earlier, do you think that Olympiago would have been 8th at this stage? Do you think Anorthosi, even Anorthosi, who in the summer brought in 25 players? I mean, let's get it right. Forget Ketspire for now. That squad that they have should be challenging for top 6. Should be. I mean, if we go by the narrative that Omonia fans created about Roman Bezos a couple of years ago, MVP, best player in the league, past top 11 players. Anorthosi should be doing well, right? Got good players in Kiko, fantastic left foot. Vukic, all right, he's scored as many offside goals as he had normal goals. You know, Sensi's been fantastic for him. Artemida looks like the Artemida of old. Defensively, okay, they could do better, but they got a goalkeeper that is very experienced. So should they be down there? Some of the games that we've seen this season, in fact, most of the games this season have been very, very entertaining. Okay, there've been some duds. I'm not going to lie. There've been some games where it's just been bore off. But how many 0-0s have they been this season? Can't think of many. I'm just saying. Aradipu and Agrida to go down with Paralimni. Fair? Kasava just came here for that first division bonus. Right back down they go. Yeah. Never know. That's actually smart. Going up and down is a lot better than just staying up. Well, the thing is, Yanni, going down really hurts teams more than what you think or what most people think, because that Sida Vision TV money, I think they get about $500,000 each. It makes a massive difference. And if you look at Salamina, for example, who are running away with Division 2 at the moment. I don't know if you've seen Division 2, but Salamina they're like Craig David. They're walking away. But they worked very, very hard in the background over the summer. They reshuffled the board. They brought in Larko, a sporting director. He's got his connections, brought in a lot of good players. If you look at Ayers, for example, Ayers last season finished 4th, couple points away from top 3. They would have got promoted, but they slipped. And now they're at the bottom. They're second from bottom. It's very, very difficult. Omoniagos and Ismail, they sat their head coach. They're struggling. So dropping into the second division, it's very, very difficult. 2 0-0s this season. But don't get hefty bonus for promotion. 300 grand for promotion. You think it's a lot? Well, I know that 500k is what they get. That's what I've been told by a couple of board members at certain clubs that have been promoted. TV money's 500k for first division. So yeah. Anyway, whatever. Let's move on to another story. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Because, boys and girls, now, the Ethics and Protection of Sports Committee, also known as CES, announced that it's officially opening an ex officio investigation into the CFA's decision to have the Doxa versus Agreda game replayed. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Doxa Girona game in October was cancelled due to the late arrival of the match doctor. Girona put out a statement to explain what happened and demanded a 3-0 win, which are the rules. However, for some reason, they were happy to have the game replayed, according to their technical director, Yorgos Tsuka, who told Supersport 104 in November that the board wrote to the CFA saying matches should be decided on the pitch. So the CFA, in their infinite wisdom, rescheduled the match, basically bypassing their own regulations, by the way, which pissed off a lot of teams. Doxa beat Girona 2-0 in the rescheduled fixture, but the saga continues as CES are now involved. What could the ethics committee do? What could they do? Are they looking into potential match fixing? Are they looking into something untoward happening? Now, I'm not going to go into Girona. I'm not going to delve into that club. I mean, you can go on our X. In fact, let me just bring it up. So if you're on X, go to @thisismappa and see a few posts from today about Girona and a certain someone involved at the club who's got a bit of history. Now, I'm not saying that this person has anything to do with what happened with Doxa and Girona. Not saying that at all. But, excuse me, and it will be wrong for me to say this. Guilty by association? There's something smelly going on. And it wouldn't be the first time that a second division game would be in question. The morals, the ethics, the irony. But it's very strange to me how first Girona said, it's fine, let's play the game again. And then afterwards they say, well, we wrote a letter to the CFA and blah, 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 and we don't want the game to go ahead. We want the 3-0. It's a bit weird. And then the game is replayed and then Doxa win because, Girona are bottom of the league. The shit. Sorry. I don't know what the ethics committee are going to come up with. I just have a sneaky suspicion. And Pedro, you can correct me. Yanni, you can correct me. Anyone else that's watching right now, you can correct me. But given the history of Cyprus football, some things get swept under the rug. I mean, so many things have been swept under the rug. Do you think that there was a corpse under the rug? That shape, Lift that fucking rug up and all the shit comes out. But hey, it is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is. It doesn't matter. Let's just see what happens. Anyway, unfortunately, boys and girls, let me just double check because Vryonides hasn't done anything. Not that I've seen anyway. There's been no sports judge announcements. There's nothing on the CFA website that I can see. I've been checking all afternoon, to be fair. There's been nothing. So there isn't spin the wheel, unfortunately. But the good thing is, for you, that is it. That is it. It's been a very, very quiet week for Cyprus football standards. No controversy. Not much anyway, apart from that CES thing. No fan problems. No coaches arguing. No, I don't know, physio sent off. What the fuck is going on? But you know what? This time next week, I'm pretty certain it's going to be a blockbuster. So hold on to your seats. I guess the gods of Cyprus football have given us a week off, kind of. Anyway, before I wrap it up, don't forget, if you're on Instagram and X, give us a follow at This Is Mappa. And in case you don't already know, the Book of Mappa is going to be published next May, hopefully. But chapters 1 to 3, you can purchase from our Patreon. Link is in the description. The first 3 chapters, I mean, there's 189 pages there. Trust me, it's well worth it. Anyway, that's it for another episode of This Is Mappa. We'll be back very, very soon. So until next time, boys and girls,